Hi everyone, thanks for coming back for part 3. As I was watching the playback for my last video, I just noticed that I forgot to show the references for the death of Joshua. As you can see over here in 1434 BC, you can see that there's several references that place the death of Joshua in the year 1434 BC. So you see there's several witnesses to that year as being the year of Joshua's death. There's another one right here. Okay, so just as a review, if you work this forward from the decree in 457 that's recorded in the book of Ezra, that was the 7th year of Artaxerxes, and it's a year ending in year 7. It was 457 BC. If you add the 483 years to that, it takes you to 27 AD, which was the beginning of Christ's ministry before he was cut off after 3.5 years in the midst of a week. And of course, this second half of the week is what remains to be fulfilled. It will begin with the abomination of desolation. And when you calculate this from the 62 weeks, which is 62 weeks, or 434 years, that takes you to year 0, to the time of Christ's birth. So that would refer to the coming of the Messiah, the Prince, as a baby at his first coming. And so that would be the decree in Nehemiah 2, but I believe the year of that decree would have culminated in the year 434 BC, the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, but the commandment to build Jerusalem, as far as the 69 weeks, that would have been from the decree in Ezra 7 that was made by Artaxerxes in his 7th year, and that was a decree ending with the year 7, which was in 457 BC. And that one works out to 27 AD when the Lord began his ministry. And he was baptized by John the Baptist, which is what John the Baptist was talking about over here in John chapter 1 and verses 25 through 27. And it just so happened to be verse 27 where it says, "He who's coming after me is preferred before me, whose shoes latchet I am not worthy to unloose." And I think we know what that means by now. Okay, so that's a prophecy in weeks of years. And then just as a review, when you work this prophecy in Jubilees, if you go back 49 Jubilees, it takes you to the year 434 BC, which was the time of the building of the wall, the time of Nehemiah. It takes you exactly to that year when you go back 49 Jubilees. And when you go back 69 Jubilees, it takes you to the cutting off of Joshua, who is a type of the Messiah. It takes you to the death of Joshua in the year 1434 BC, as you see from these references over here. There's another one here, and talks about it here. And so there's several references that place that year at 434 BC. Okay, and this was also the year of the retaking of Jerusalem, or the taking of Jerusalem, and the entering into the promised land under Joshua, and the burying of Joseph's bones after his death. Then when you work it back, the full 70 Jubilees, it takes you all the way to the Exodus, which is the year 1484 BC on our calendar, but the Hebrew year just so happens to be the year 2277, which is an amplified form of the number 27, and it conforms with the Jubilee pattern, which alternates between the numbers 27 and 77. Okay, there was something else that was interesting that I wanted to show you. If you go back to the year 1484 BC, which is the year of the Exodus, which is the very beginning of the prophecy, when you work it backwards in terms of Jubilees, when you look at the breakdown of the number of months in years, you see that it comes out to 42,000 months and 3,500 years, but if you leave off the zeros, that looks like 3.5 years, which is what remains of the 70th week, the 3.5 years, and the 42 months. And this right here is a number that's just between the 1,260 days and the 1,290 days that are talked about in the book of Daniel. Okay, so now I want to talk about this prophecy in terms of years or Shavuos. This prophecy can refer to the Feast of Weeks, as it says right here. The weeks can refer to many different things, and one of the things that it can refer to is the Feast of Weeks or Pentecost. So this can refer to 70 Pentecosts. Okay, so the most recent decree to restore and build Jerusalem since the decrees by Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes would be this decree that was made in 1947. It was Resolution 181. It was the UN plan to partition Palestine and to create the Jewish state. But if you look back, you'll see that this was based on a decision that was made by a special committee to vote on the issue of the Palestinian state. And you can see here that it was an 11-member committee, and all 11 members voted in favor of the Palestinian state, the state of Israel. So this is what began the process, and this was in August of 1947. And so when you convert August 31, 1947 to a Hebrew year, you see that takes you to the year 5707. So again, you have a year ending with the number 7, both times, both on the Gregorian calendar and on the Hebrew calendar. Okay, so if you go to August 31, 1947, and of course, we don't know the date when this is all going to end, but if you go all the way to August 31st of 2017, that takes you to exactly 70 years. But over here it says there's 69 weeks to the coming of the Messiah if you add the 7 to the 62. So any time between now and August 31st would still be 69 weeks. And then if you go to the Balfour Declaration, even though it was dated November 2nd, 1917, if you look further down, you'll see that the draft was actually written in mid-August, the Balfour draft. So this was first drafted in August of 1917, and mid-August of 1917 to mid-August of 2017 would be exactly 100 years, or one generation. And so this all goes back to the parable of the fig tree, where Jesus said, "Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, you know that summer is nigh. So likewise, ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So Jesus is saying, this generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled. And we're almost at 100 years, an entire generation, since the time Israel was decreed to become a nation. And that's based on the Balfour Declaration, as well as the UN Resolution 181, which was the plan to partition Palestine for the purpose of creating a Jewish state, or independent Arab and Jewish states in the territory known as Palestine. And so this 100 years, this generation of 2 Jubilees, could also be a parallel to the counting of the Omer and the 2 Pentecosts that seem to be described in Leviticus 23, where it says, and you shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days, and you shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. So this seems to refer to 2 cycles of 7 Sabbaths complete. But of course, this may be a matter of interpretation, or it could be that God has purposely worded it this way, because it may be that it depends on what's going on down below, whether there's a golden calf being made, whether the counting of the Omer ends after the first cycle, or if it continues for another cycle. I'm not really sure. No one knows the day or the hour, but this year, 2017, Hebrew year 5777, seems to be the year when all of this should come to fulfillment. And then you see over here in verse 17, this is when the 2 wave loaves of the first fruits are presented. So I'm not sure of the day or the hour, but it's looking very likely that this could very well be the year. And so that's really all I have to present right now. I just want to thank you all for watching this video. And I just pray that we're all accounted worthy to meet the Lord very, very soon. So thanks again for watching, and God bless you all.